Welcome back, ladies and gents. We are going over Chapter 2, Expeditionary Medicine Administration. Sounds like a great time, don't you agree? Pretty much this chapter covers medical reports, logs, and records, and things like that. And also the organization of fleet hospitals and fleet marine force, and all that good stuff, NMCB battalions. So we're going to start off on 2TAC 1, skip over this introduction part, and go over to reports to the officer of the day. So pretty much all important occurrences are reported to the senior medical, or are reported by the senior medical department representative to the OOD for entry into the duty log. Things that need to be reported are injuries, conditions that can affect the health of the crew, and damage of loss or medical or dental equipment. And the names of patients in serious conditions are reported directly to the commanding officer by the OOD, so that way the next of kin can be notified. We're skipping over to 2TAC 2, talking about memorandum for the record. So a memorandum for the record is used to provide a medium for recording special occurrences that might need to be reconstructed in detail at a later time. So they're used pretty much just for recording things until they can be put into an official document. And you want to follow anything that's highlighted, like all of these instructions are good to know. So SecNav instruction 52 16.5 series, Department of the Navy Correspondence Manual. I know it doesn't seem like it's important, but I promise as you go higher up in the ranks, there's going to be a lot more things about the Correspondence Manual. And it's important to know about all that good stuff. Let's see. We're going to talk about SAMS next. SAMS is a tool used shipboard to track medical and dental readiness of Navy Marine Corps operational units. It allows providers to update the patient medical information and record medical encounters. And it's also used to track supply, inventory, maintenance, all that good stuff. SAMS pretty much holds all the inspections on the ship, everything. So after SAMS, we have MERS, which is Medical Readiness Reporting System. It's important to know what these acronyms mean too. Like SAMS means Shipboard Automated Medical System, and MERS is Medical Readiness Reporting System. MERS is used to, it tracks, so SAMS tracks people who are just, it only tracks people that are operational, whereas MERS tracks everybody. So MERS is a big thing with IMS and things like that. So if you go TAD somewhere and you end up getting an immunization, that can be inputted into your MERS record, and that way your readiness is available and you won't have to get that shot again. What do we have next? And things like DEERS and Central Data Repository, they allow SAMS and MERS to communicate with each other, because obviously you're not always going to be operational and you're not always going to be ashore duty. So it allows them to talk together. It says the training log, all training management module of SAMS. So all training gets documented in SAMS. The potable water log. So the potable water log is important because it tests the levels of chlorine and bromine in the water. And obviously you want to have good water when you're on the ship. And that's going to be documented in SAMS in the environmental management module. And is also going to be maintained in accordance with the Manual of Naval Preventive Medicine, or the P5010. P5010 is very, very important to know, and it's always going to be on your bibs, and you should look into that. Let's see. The next thing we're talking about is the 3M system, or Maintenance and Material Management System, which was developed to record, report, and evaluate all the maintenance requirements. So it pretty much tells you what is due to be maintained. Where are we at now? Okay, now we're going to talk about directives. So there's two types of directives, a permanent and a temporary directive. The permanent ones regulate administration, establish policy, delegate authority, and assign a mission, function, or task, while as temporary directives are normally issued as a notice to request comments or approval and announce information such as change of command or education and promotion opportunities. So one establishes policy, whereas the other one is pretty much asking for permission for things. It's things that don't need to be kept for a long period of time. Let's see. Change transmittals. So that's used to make changes to instructions and notices. They're going to be numbered consecutively, and anytime there's a change to an instruction or a change to anything, it's going to be the newest one on top. So you're going to have 1 on the bottom, 2 above that, 3 above that, 4 above that, 5 above that, and so on and so on. All right, 2-TAC-4, about Navy correspondence. So usually we use the standard Navy letter, and the instructions for typing all that up is very precise, and it is found in SecNav Instruction 5216.5 series, Department of Navy Correspondence Manual. So if you're ever writing an official thing, you need to look at that manual so you can make sure you're doing it correctly and you don't look like a fool when you're sending things. And next we're going to talk about SSIC codes. This is also on 2-TAC-4. So SIC codes are used to classify, what's the word I'm looking for? Like instructions and things of that nature. So it goes from 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, all the way to 13,000. It skips 14 and 15 and goes to 16,000. And there is a really dirty acronym that I know to remember these. So if you write down, if you have a piece of paper with you, if you write, put those open legs around my face or send my fucking check airmail. Airmail is 2 separate words. You write the series numbers right next to those. And you can see in the book right here, the first one is military personnel, put personnel. Telecommunications, those. Operations and Readiness, open. Logistics, legs. General administration, around. Medicine and Dentistry, my. Financial management is face. Ordnance, or. Ship's design, send. General material, my. Facilities and Activities, fucking. Sounds weird. I remember that because fucking facilities, because they never want to come to fix the shit. And then we have civilian personnel, which is check. Aeronautical and astronautical material is air, which makes sense. Aeronautical, air. And then Coast Guard's missions is mail. So you want to remember the word missions with mail. And that's how I remember it. If you have a different thing to remember it, then that's cool too. Next, we're going to skip over to 2-TAC-5, down to the medical readiness section where it talks about IMR, which is a continuous process and is supposed to be monitored and reported on a regular basis, which pretty much makes sure that everybody is healthy and fit and ready to deploy. And over on 2-TAC-6, we're going to talk about the SecNav Instruction 6120.3 series, the Periodic Health Assessment for Individual Medical Readiness, which pretty much has all the information you need to know about PHAs and things of that nature. And we also want to know these 6 bullet points for the IMR is composed of these things. Individual medical equipment is part of the IMR, so glasses, gas mask inserts, things of that nature. Immunizations to make sure our TBs are up to date, tetanus, all that good stuff. Then we have labs that need to be done. If you have any deployment limiting conditions, make sure your PHA is done, and dental readiness. So those are the 6 things that make up your IMR. And there will definitely be questions on that. We're going to skip over PHA just because it just tells you pretty much everything that the IMR says. It's everything you need to have done for your PHA. And then dental readiness. So you have 4 classes of dental readiness: Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, Class 4. Class 1 and Class 2 are deployable. Class 1 means you have no cavities, nothing's wrong with you, and you've had your cleaning and your exam and everything. Or Class 2 means that you may have a cavity or something, but it's not going to become an emergency within the next 12 months. Class 3 and Class 4 are not deployable. Class 3 means that you could potentially become a dental emergency within the next 12 months. And Class 4 means either you need a dental exam or you have oral conditions that are unknown. So that's what's important to know there. 1 and 2 are good. 3 and 4, not so good. Next, we're going to talk about, at the medical and dental support to the Fleet Marine Force at the Battalion Aid Station. So battalion aid stations are used to provide direct support to company and platoon corpsmen and provide advanced trauma life support under fire. Each BAS is made up of 2 medical officers and 65 corpsmen per this. I know that does not always happen. And then the dental detachment is set up to provide level 1, 2, and 3 dental care with a focus on emergency care. And down to this FMF medical support section, we're going to talk about the combat personnel versus support personnel. So combat personnel are the ones that are on the lines doing the initial first aid and preparing the casualty for further evacuation, whereas support personnel do the surgical and medical aid for those that cannot be further evacuated. Okay, and then we're going to talk about the primary mission of the medical battalion is to provide these 5 things: casualty collection, emergency treatment, temporary hospitalization, specialized surgery, and evacuation. So again, bullet points. Anything that's bullet pointed in this book is probably a list you should know. Now, fleet hospitals are, so HMs will deploy with expeditionary medical facilities with up to 500 beds to be organized and scaled to fit the requirements identified by the combatant commander. Fleet hospitals are designed to be used in operations for greater than 60 days. Important to know. Sorry. And next page pretty much talks about, this is 2 TAC 8, Fleet Hospital is similar to a shore-based military treatment facility. It consists of the triad, so commanding officer, executive officer, and command master chief, and then the 5 directorates of nursing services, medical services, surgical services, ancillary services, and administrative services. And they're pretty much equipped to provide advanced medical, surgical, and trauma care, similar to a civilian trauma center. So these are mobile hospitals, pretty much, that are used as trauma centers. Next is going to talk about CBs. So we pretty much do the same thing with the CBs that we do with the Marines, where they're medical as well. And then this last part just talks about all the warfare devices that we can get. So look that over. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I hope you join me for the next video.